Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday, my favorite day of the week. And what better opportunity, I thought, to take you along to the beach with me with the doggos. And we are basically going to talk about how I moved to Ibiza and why I moved to Ibiza and ways in which you can do it too, because I thought it's been the question on everyone's mind for so long. So let's talk about it. That's my king. Let's go. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me, okay? Because I feel like we need background in order to know how we got to Ibiza. So, why I moved to Ibiza in the first place. Now, a lot of you might know, and a lot of you might not know this, but Mr. G has lived in Ibiza for quite a long time, okay? I'd say maybe like 3 to 4 years he's lived in Ibiza before me. And in the wintertime, he would live in Tenerife. When I met him, I was living in London. And if you know any relationship, long distance, for me personally, was not the one. It was just like, I don't know, it just wasn't enjoyable. So we needed to figure out a plan of how I was going to get to Ibiza. Now, a lot of you might also know that I've lived abroad before. So I used to live in Amsterdam and I knew that living abroad maybe was for me, just wasn't the place for me. So Amsterdam was not it. You guys know, it was not for me. I think I needed like a warm climate. I needed something that said, I'm here. Something that reflects me. Something that reflects me. And I think that would be Ibiza. When I think of myself, I think of like fashion, I think party, I think happiness, I think Ibiza. I've been here before a couple of times on holiday and it was like a magical island. But like I said, the fact that Mr. G lived here, it kind of just went hand in hand. It was perfect. But I'm from England. I have a British passport. I also have a Greek passport, but I wanted to pay tax in the right country. So that's why I went down the route of the digital nomad visa, which we will get into in a little bit. Let's talk about what I expected versus the reality of Ibiza. I would say, honestly, what I expected was pretty much what I got. But saying that, there was another side of Ibiza that I didn't know existed. So when I think of Ibiza, I think party, sunshine, craziness, right? So I expected that. I knew that I was going to get that, and that's pretty bang on. But what I didn't expect was the scenic side, the hike side, the family side, and that was my eye opener to like, okay, I could live here long term. Because party wise, yeah, cool, it's fun for like a month or two, but is that sustainable for me? Is that healthy for me? I don't know. Like, that's kind of the things you need to weigh up when you think, am I going to move abroad, and to where? Is it going to be good long term for you? But as soon as I saw the other side of Ibiza, I was like, immediately yes. Another thing which I was like, okay, expectation, reality, was I was really nervous about making friends. And I think a lot of you might relate to this in terms of like in your 20s or 30s or whatever age you are. I think the older you get, the scarier it is to actually make friends. So when I got here, I thought, okay, like, yeah, my friends come here on holiday, but the people who I'm going to be around all the time, my group, like what am I going to do? Like I don't know anybody, and it's difficult making friends when you're older. But rest assured, that was something which was exceeded expectations. The people I have met here have been amazing. And I think when you're picking somewhere, you need to keep that in mind, because I found that hard in Amsterdam. And I don't think that'll be the same for everyone, but focus on what kind of person you are, and how the area and the people reflect you and how you might get along with them, because this was perfection. So I did touch on this a second ago, but in this video, we're going to touch on how you can move to Ibiza, the different kind of visas, and particularly the visa that I went through and the process of that, because it wasn't an easy process. And like I said, I do have a Greek passport, but I wanted to do it the official way. So this is the way that I've done it. And this is the way, if you want to do it the official way, then that's how you're going to do it. As you know, England is not in the EU anymore, but if you are from Europe, or if you're from Ireland, like my boyfriend, you basically have a golden ticket, because you can live within Europe. You just have to sort your NIE number, which is basically like, I would say, it's not your national insurance number, but it's like an identity number that they know that you are living here, basically. As an English person, we can no longer get that, because we're not in Europe, we don't have the benefit. A lot of people have asked me why Ibiza. So I'm going to tell you, basically there is something about this energy in the island. Like, if you've been to Ibiza, then you will know. It is a magical island. When you come here, a lot of people party, they do a week and then they leave. But then they tend to come back again and again and again. And there's a reason for that. It's an infectious energy here. So when I moved here, I just felt like I felt a lot more free. I could wear what I want without judgment. And we were speaking about this the other day about like different places that I live. Like I didn't feel like that in Amsterdam whatsoever, but I do feel like that here. So you have a lot of people who are English, a lot of people who are Irish. You have a lot of people who are locals or expats. Like it kind of reminds me of London in the sense that like there's so many different people in one area that's quite small. And I wouldn't say everyone knows everyone, but it's a very close-knit community. So moving here, I definitely felt safe, regardless of not knowing anyone. I felt safer because I knew it was familiar in some kind of way. And I am trying to learn Spanish, but I do think it does help massively that a lot of people here do speak English. And that's no excuse for me to not learn Spanish, but it does make it easier in some way. Another huge benefit is the weather. I mean, look around. We are mid to end November and it is like 17 degrees. It is beautiful blue skies. You don't really get this anywhere else. I mean, in Europe, I would say everywhere's quite cold, but Ibiza is just, I don't know, it's beautiful. And this is kind of all year round. I mean, January, February times, if you watch my old YouTube videos, you'll see that it's kind of cold, but this time of the year, perfection. And summertime, I mean, it reaches, I'm going to say it's 35 sometimes. It is hot, but in the nicest way. Ibiza has a sense of community here where you have two sides of the island. Santa Eulalia is kind of hippie, it's kind of edgy, and then that's one side of the island. Then you have the party side of the island. And I think altogether, there's different communities that come together, and it is just so enjoyable to experience loads of different things. Like you can never get bored of one thing. Like if you do get bored of one thing, you just go to the beach and you see the bongos playing, which they might have stopped that now, but there's loads of different things that you can experience. Like there's a huge dog walking community here. Everyone has pets. I say that, but then walking on the beaches with dogs is only really a wintertime thing, as I'm going to show you. It's a shame, but as you can understand, it's super busy in the summertime and the dogs can be a bit feral. So I understand why they do that. But if you are moving to Ibiza, keep that in mind. It's very pet friendly, and in the wintertime, you can enjoy the beaches with your dogs. Let's talk about the cost of living in Ibiza. It is no secret that it is expensive. I think if you've been here before, I can tell you by the fact that a bottle of water is 10 euros, rent isn't going to be cheap, is it? When I moved here, I knew that rent was going to be expensive, but I also was going off of how it was in London and how it was in Amsterdam. So I had a good understanding that it was going to be on the higher end of the spectrum. If you are looking, like let's say there's two girls, you're coming in a pair, two girls, you want to work here over the summer, right? I think that you are going to be paying about 1.5 each. So about 3,000 for a 2-bedroom apartment in Ibiza. This is very roughly. It can differentiate on the area, because I know that San Antonio in the height of summer is going to be expensive, whereas Santa Eulalia, again, it's going to be expensive. Anywhere you go is going to be expensive, but you can find better deals. But if you're coming in the height of summer, expect to pay a lot. If you're going to do yearly, so the annually payments where you stay here in the winter, then it might be a slightly cheaper in the winter, maybe by 500 a month, like it might be less. But that most people don't stay here in the winter. You do just come for the summer. So that's one thing. As you know, Ibiza is in very high demand, okay? So let's say you do want to come here, you want to stay here for the whole of summer, for the season, which is usually May to September. It's a long period of time. It's not going to be a situation like London where you pay a deposit, your first month's rent, and then you pay monthly. A lot of the time, they're going to ask for it in cash, in full, for the whole duration of the time that you want to stay. And if you can't do that, then they're going to say, okay, well, someone else can, because like I said, it's in high demand. So come with that mindset. I'm not saying this is all the time, but it's very, very, very common that in the height of summer, that is the case. But if that is completely unattainable for you, I'm going to tell you how I did it. Basically, do it in advance. So really do your research and look in loads of different places. Sometimes you can find an agent. You can go through an agency to do an agency fee. We basically found ours in about December, and he moved in January and I moved in February, okay? If you do pay for the annual year, then you're more likely to find somewhere in the summertime because you're obviously staying there throughout the winter, throughout the summer. So the landlords are grateful for that. And therefore you can do a better price, you can do monthly payments. But like I said, if you are going to do just the summer, that's when it gets pricey, because
Start
it's
looking by December.
yeah, you want to start looking by December. So start looking now. I'm glad I put this YouTube video out in November. Start looking in December so you have time to really do your research on what area you want, how many people are staying in there, because sometimes it's good to get like a house and do like a room share where that's better for workers, in my opinion, because it's cheaper. So also there's no secret here in Ibiza that people like to rob one another. So I highly suggest you go through proper agencies like Idealista, which is what we went through. People can pose as private agents. Sometimes that is not to be trusted. Okay, I know a lot of people who have had their deposits robbed. Like you're never getting that back. You think that you're getting somewhere in Ibiza. You arrive here, you've done it in advance. Guess what? There's no house. So go through a proper website is my best advice to you, because they're never going to do that to you, and if they do, then at least you can take it elsewhere, claim, find them, whatever you need to do. But that's what we did, and I highly suggest that's what you do. Right, now let's talk about average costs of things. The supermarkets are slightly more expensive than your average Asda or your average Tesco, but that is because the produce is much fresher, and I can vouch for that. Everyone says to me, how did you lose weight? When you're eating healthily and things are not processed consistently. Like, I'm not eating out fast food, and I think if you live here full time, then you'll know that it's not attainable to do that. So you will be going to the supermarket, you will be making your own foods. So in the long run, it is probably cheaper than if you're living in London and you're ordering takeaways every day, like that kind of thing. But the grocery stores are a little bit more expensive, so expect that. In terms of if you do want to eat out, I think this is no secret when I say it is so expensive. Yes, you can find cheaper restaurants, the local restaurants, but in total, if you are going for a nice night out, I would say
You'd be happy for two people to be less than 100.
yeah.
Buzzing.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt, you would be absolutely buzzing to get a meal that is £100 per person, including drinks and dinner and maybe a starter. You want to go for a nice meal in the places which people are tagging. You get a main and maybe a starter to share and a couple of drinks. I think you're looking at about €100 per person. If you wanted to get absolutely wasted, whatever, drink-wise, then it is going to pile up. The drinks here are expensive. Like I said before, if you are going to live here, then buy your produce in the supermarkets, make your food at home. There's quite a lot of people who do like meal preps here. And I think that that's a great way to go about your week, because sometimes if you're partying or if you are working, then you know that you might not have time all the time, like to be sat there making food. So, do your meal preps. That will be a huge way to save money in Ibiza, is just planning ahead of all the things that you can save on. As if you were in London or as if you were in any other country, how would you save money? You'd cut back on meals, you cut back on the clubbing, you cut back on the alcohol. Right, let's talk about nightlife. As you know, I love a party, okay? As does most people in Ibiza. But there is, I don't know, I think it's got way more expensive in the last 5 years. Like a ticket to a club on average, you are paying you're paying between 50 and €150 for an average ticket. And bear in mind, people are going out every single day. And this is because they are on holiday. So if you are living here,
take advantage of workers' pass.
Take advantage of, so let's say you are working here and you're working in a club or you are working in a bar. You do have something which you can use, which is called a workers' pass, and you apply for that either when you move here or just before you move here, and that basically gets you free entry into Ushuaia, not all days, but most days. Universe, pretty much all days, but this excludes the opening and the closings. And then, and High as well.
You can get a separate one for Amnesia.
You've got a separate one for Amnesia, which I didn't have, but I did have the one But yeah, that's a great way to save money, is apply for a workers' pass if you are working in Ibiza. Yeah, but like I said, apply for your workers' pass, because if you are in Ibiza paying, oh my God, no way. He's trying to drive onto the beach. Transport. A lot of people use the buses here because it's a great way to get around. Also, like the night buses, which are like the nightclub shuttle buses. They're a great way to save money because taxis can tally up. But overall, I would say the taxis are very reasonably priced here. Like, it's by the meter, so you're never going to get lied to. Uber, completely unattainable. Do not get Uber in Ibiza because it's double the price. triple the wait time. It's just not as developed as it is London. Like, it's not an app island, although there's Taxi Click, which is the pay by the meter taxis. It's just an app for them. Okay, now let's talk about some of the hidden costs in Ibiza. Let's say you get your flat, okay? Happy days. You've paid your rent. It's a lot of money. Guess what? You're going to be paying for aircon. You're going to be paying for heating if you're here in the winter like us. Like, our electricity bill this year was crazy. It was 2,500, I'm pretty sure. And that was because our aircon didn't come with our house, so we had to externally use aircon. We had to buy units. We also had to externally buy heaters for the winter, and that was crazy cost that you just don't expect. Car. If you want to hire a car in Ibiza, please, for the love of God, do it in advance, because we got quoted, okay, for the summer with OK Mobility, one car for £17,000. And I wish I was joking when I told you this. £17,000, okay? For, like I said, May to September. Guys, that's crazy. And the reason they do that is because they know damn well that you're going to have to pay it, because there's no other cars on the island. There is now a new rule of the limitation of cars that can come into the island. So the cars that are here, people need them. They're going to need to hire them. So cost of a car is another thing. Please keep that in mind. Book in advance. Like, I'm booking my car for next year in advance. Saying that, another thing that I will mention is that now I've got my visa, which we'll touch on, I can now buy a car. Happy days. So now I'm going to talk about how people typically work in Ibiza. So like I said, you've got the typical people who come over for the season and they do bar work, they do club work, and it is seasonal work. And then you have people like me and a lot of other people who work online, right? And this is where I'm going to talk to you about the digital nomad visa, which is the visa that I'm working on. So you can make an income in Spain through working online, right? Like I do from TikTok. You have to make a minimum of 2,700 a month minimum. You can obviously make way more than that, but that is a minimum requirement to do this visa. Now, the visa process was a very long one, okay? It took a few months and I went through a third-party company to do it called Next Stop Ibiza. With that, you need a lot of documentation. So let's say I've worked in this industry for about 4 years now, yeah? You have to provide the last 3 years of your income statements. You have to provide things like your uni certificate, if it is relevant to what you do now. So mine was business and fashion, which is quite relevant to my TikTok, which I talk about fashion and now business. So things that basically back up what you can do and how you do it. So, Hola. You also have things that you need to do, such as apostolize all of these documents, okay? So you think, okay, I've got all your documents. You need to get this apostolized, which means certified by the government or whoever it might be that these are your official documents. And this is what Spain will then accept going forward with your visa. But it's not just that. You then have to get it translated. This process is not easy, okay? And it is not cheap. And I'm just being honest with you. I think in total, I paid between £5,000 to £6,000 working on this. So that's translations, that's third parties help. That is...
You can do it cheaper, but you're going to be looking at a headache.
Yeah, you can do it cheaper, of course, but you're looking at double the work, because this is what the third company helps you to do. They book your appointments, they speak to the government, they issue these documents for you. Like, it is a lot of work, but it is worth it, because then you can legally live in a different country with this, okay? Oh, they're so beautiful. Thank you, baby. I'm squelching like there's no tomorrow. It's so grim. So How long does this visa last for, I hear you ask? It can be anywhere from a year to 3 years. I have just qualified for 3 years. If you do want to do it cheaper, obviously you can do it for a year. After a year, you'll have to renew it. So you do this whole process again. It won't be as expensive, obviously, because you've done the bulk of the work, but you will need to renew it, prove who you say you are, prove your income again, and just generally go over anything that might have changed. Let's say you changed job, but your income is still the same. Perfect, you can still qualify if it is an online job, because that is what the digital nomad visa is, right? It means you're not making any income in Spain, but any income that you do make will go through your Spanish bank account, because that is where you will then pay tax in Spain, right? Another thing that when I applied for the digital nomad visa, I didn't think that they would ask for, but they did, was my criminal record. Of course they will. You have to have a complete 100% clean criminal record if you want to live and work in another country. Kind of goes without saying, but when I applied, I didn't realize that that was a thing. So now I'm telling you guys, if you have a criminal record, unfortunately you won't qualify. So keep it clean, guys, keep it legal, okay? Then there is a couple of other visas that you can go for. I am by no means educated on these, so don't take this for gospel, but I'm gonna name some of them and the requirements, right? Second one, a non-lucrative visa. So, popular with retirees, you must have a stable income or savings. So this is if you are retired, okay? Most of my audience, this isn't gonna be you, but it is an option if you are older. So then you have a student visa, right? Student visa, you can work part-time up to 20 hours in Spain. It's kind of similar to like when I was in Amsterdam. I wasn't on a student visa, but a lot of people I knew were on student visas. And that is basically you are a student working abroad. So you can study and you can work abroad, basically. Then you have your work visa, highly skilled regular employment. So this means you're hired by a Spanish company for professionals in tech, finances, engineering, etc. So you basically are the dog's bollocks at your job and they need you in another country. That is where you will then qualify, basically. So it is a pretty happy day situation. If you're needed in your industry, that is another way you can qualify. Then you have a very interesting one called the Golden Visa. Now this is for the rich, which I am not. Wow, look at that wave. So the Golden Visa is for the rich, which I am not yet. But if you fancied spending 500,000 on property, that is how you can qualify. Okay, so let's just say you have £500,000 spare and you want to buy a house here, which again, I don't actually know where you'd be able to buy for 500,000, because honestly, houses, if you are looking to buy, I would say like a milli. So that is another way you can basically qualify, is the Golden Visa. Or if you have a large business investment, fast, flexible residency with a few stay requirements. So I don't know if that's going to be any of us, unless I have any million or billionaires watching me right now, which if I do, slay. I think you're all going to be future millionaires and billionaires. But as of current, if anyone can splash out 500,000, then slay. So they're just some of the other visas that you could potentially do. I personally think for our age group and our generation, the digital nomad visa is the best one. If you have an online job, if you do what I do, it's just the best way to go about it, because like I said, you can make a lot of income, or you can meet the requirement income and you can still qualify to live in Spain. So I think that that's a great one to go for. Oh my God, no way.
Good boy.
Good boy.
Be quiet.
Right, Ibiza, the social life and community. Summer vs winter. There's no easy way to say this. Winter's dead, okay? But in the perfect way. Like, I genuinely went from summer, like seeing people every single day and the social life being insane, as you can imagine, because we're in Ibiza, right? If there's not something in the day, there's something in the night, and most times there is something in the day and the night time. Winter, I was like, what on earth are we gonna do? Now, I am a member of Soho House, and I was under the impression that there would be loads of events in the winter. There's not. But what there is a Facebook group, right? Of like all the locals and expats, and there is activities every single day. Like, what's the craziest activity you've seen on the Facebook group? Wasn't it like
DMT
meeting
breathing
some?
or something.
Oh yeah, DMT
Elvis.
breathe. Elton John, I think it was. A meet and greet.
Like impersonator.
Oh yeah, like there's literally, if you thought it was dead in the winter like I did, think again. There is something every single day.
Comedy shows.
There's comedy shows.
DMT breath work, mushroom ceremonies.
Yeah, they've got it all. Like there is a yoga class, there is a Pilates class, there is something for everyone. And like, I think I almost wish I was here more in the winter because obviously I am back and forth because of my surgery. But like, there was just so much that you can do. And I think it made it a lot easier because I think 9 times out of 10, the biggest fear of being in another country is being lonely. Like I was really lonely in Amsterdam, so much so that I didn't go out because I didn't know what to do. Whereas here, there is always something you can do. And if you don't know what to do, then the Facebook group will tell you what to do, basically. So I think another great thing is having dogs. I've met a lot of people because of Chico and Cookie. You go on walks, you socialise them, and therefore you meet new people who are also like-minded people because they also have dogs. So I think that's really enjoyable and something I didn't expect. Right, let's just recap on Ibiza seasons and the honest reality of it all. Because yes, you can paint it a certain way, but like I've tried to keep it as real as I possibly can in this video. And I think some people may feel disheartened, but don't feel disheartened because if I was able to do it, and trust me, I had no idea about anything. Like when we first met, he literally said like, I feel like I'm having to baby you. And now there's absolutely no need because I have sorted things on my own and you can do it. It is long-winded and it is a ball ache because we're not in Europe, but you definitely can do it. So in the summer, it is busy, expensive. The traffic is a bit of a nightmare, but is it worth it? Yes. Right now, what beach is this? What beach is this?
Say Salinas, I think it's called.
Okay, so this beach is called Say Salinas. This is a beautiful beach. One of my other favourite beaches, Cala Compta. Another one, Calabassa. Another one, Port d'Estorrent. Like there are so many beautiful beaches that you can experience in the summer and the winter time. Like it is just beautiful. And like I said, the magical feeling on the island, it never really goes despite there being no one here. It is the most beautiful, magical island. And also I feel like if you haven't got a boyfriend, come here because you'll definitely find one. It's Magical Love Island, they call it. That's how I met him, if you don't know. And then let's talk about the winter. So the winter, it is quiet, but the benefits are that it's cheaper because, I mean, you're not going out. And even things like the markets to get food, like they are cheaper in the winter because it's more for locals. So it's like, they really focus on their locals in the winter. And I think that's really nice because you don't get that. It's quite nice that you actually experience the winter at home. And like, it's really nice if you're with a partner, but like, don't feel like disheartened if you don't have a partner because there is groups of people and groups of friends and you can have dinners with them and you can have days with them and you can have beach walks with them. Like it is community based in the winter and in the summer. So don't feel, oh, Stella's in a relationship, therefore the only way to do it is that way. No, there is single girls on the island who are thriving just as much. So yeah. Also the winter, I think, is a great time to just reset mentally. It's been a long summer, okay? And it is no secret that I partied hard. So now is my actual time to just sit down, chill out, reflect, get my health back in check because obviously I've just had an operation and focus on the things which really mean the most to me. Like literally days like this. Like this is my dream. I've dreamt of this for so long and now we have it. So it's winter, it's November. Like I said at the beginning of the video, it is 17 degrees. It does not feel cold, but I have a cardigan under this and like a windbreaker and I'm completely fine. My legs are out and I'm fine. So goes to show, come January though, you are gonna need a coat. Like he said to me when I first moved here in February, he was like, you're gonna need to bring your puffer coat. And I was like, ha, ha, ha. Yeah. I got here and I was like, it is literally just as cold as England, if not, maybe not colder, but the exact same, I would say. Windy, cold, rainy, but just for a lot less time. You know, England really drags it out. Whereas Ibiza's just like January, February, we're gonna have those seasons and then the sun comes out in about March, which is nice. Cookie. Let's talk about the pros and cons of living in Ibiza. Let's round everything up. So quality of life is a pro. Nature, beaches, sunsets. It is safe. I would say that is one thing which I pride Ibiza in. Obviously, I know people have different experiences, but I have found that it's really safe. I would go out alone and feel safe. I know that the taxis are safe. I just generally feel good, and that is really important to me because I didn't always feel like that in Amsterdam or London. I always thought, and don't get me wrong, like I felt really anxious in London, and I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I felt like I couldn't breathe and like I wanted to go out, but then I didn't. Once I was out, I wanted to go home. I felt like all my friends were in London, but it just, I don't know, I didn't love the trains, and I know it sounds really princess of me, but then I realised, actually, no, I just like a slower lifestyle. And I think that's where Ibiza is perfect for me. And I think if you do feel the same, then I think that could really benefit you. Like, it helped my mental health a lot. A lot of you have been here for a while know that I massively struggled with anxiety. And I don't think since I've touched foot on the island, I felt anxious. So that's a real benefit. Sometimes he makes me anxious. But other than that, I feel pretty damn good. It's all the kombucha. That helps. Now let's talk about some of the cons. I'm gonna keep it real. The expensive rent, the seasonal economy. It's hard to find long-term housing, as we've discussed. Humidity and the mold in the winter is no issue. It's no secret that it is literally the bane of our life. Like, a lot of houses here are the old Ibizan finca houses, right? Like, our house has a well in it, so naturally we have a lot of damp. In the winter time, your house doesn't have the heat where it would normally air out. So it's a lot of moisture kept in, and that is how mold festers. We do have black mold in our house. It is trying to be sorted, but it comes back with a vengeance. So if you do live here, just keep in mind, it's not going to be perfect living conditions like London or maybe Dubai or somewhere really modern and, you know, up to date with these things. Ibiza does have its downsides, and that's not the worst thing in the world, but it is a con. So another con is obviously the fact that we're not in Europe and that whole saga that we've spoken about, but there is ways around it. So where there is a con, there is also a pro, and that's really important to remember. Yeah, that's just a summary of the pros and cons that we have spoken about. I'll meet you back in the car. We're back in the car, and I'm going to talk to you about a couple of things just to round things up, okay? About what people don't tell you about Ibiza. I have mentioned this a couple of times, like, it can be lonely, especially as it is such like a party island and it goes from one extreme to the next in the winter, and it's like quite quiet here. It can be lonely, but like I said, there's different communities that you can put yourself in, slot yourself in, and it will be completely fine. Like, you will find your people. There is someone for everyone here. And that's what I really like about Ibiza. It's very diverse, it's very crazy. And another massive downside, and I think if you are thinking about moving here and you have a job like mine, where you do have a lot of PR, a lot of parcels, a lot of packages, please, I don't even know why I'm saying please, like, find a way. I'm saying find another way. There is no way. Like, I have a PO box because a lot of addresses here, a lot of houses here don't have actual addresses. So it's very difficult to get things delivered. Even if you do have an address and you can get things delivered, it is island time. It takes triple, quadruple the amount of time that you would think of, like London. Like Amazon Prime, they've got it. It ain't Prime. It will take 2 to 3 working weeks. And that is just my experience. And where I do have parcels delivered to couriers, which is the PO box and their version of like Royal Mail, it takes a really long time, and not all parcels get there, and then they say they do and they're not actually there. So it's quite disheartening in that sense. So just keep that in mind, like parcels, deliveries, paperwork, appointments, doctor's appointments, everything is island time. There is no rush, there is no urgency like London, which I don't think is the worst thing in the world, but it is very different in terms of lifestyle. So keep that in mind. Let's just go over some tips on what I would say if you're thinking of moving here. Base your location on what is actually manageable for you and not on like the vibes. Like, let's say, oh, I want to stay in San Antonio because all my friends are there. Yes, that might be a benefit, but you need to think about things that are going to benefit you work-wise if you are working here. So is it close to your work? Is that going to be easy access? You're not going to spend an hour traveling every day, that kind of thing. Think about the logistics of things when you move, and not like just the vibes, like I said. If you're here during the winter, and I mentioned about the mold, bring a dehumidifier. If you do travel over via car, because most people will, if you do want to bring your car over, you can like pack the car full of stuff. Pack a dehumidifier, for the love of God, because they're very expensive here. So yeah, that's one thing. Learn basic Spanish. I did say that everyone speaks English here, but that is no excuse not to learn the language. People appreciate it a lot if you take the time to just learn even the most basic Spanish. I think it's the most respectful thing you can do. And remember that we are in another country where English is not their first tongue. So don't be ignorant, learn the language. It will help you. And also it's fun to learn a language when you're in a different country. I gave it my absolute all in the Netherlands. It didn't work, but at least I tried. I'm learning Spanish now. There was a Spanish school that you can do in the winter, which he's doing, but I'm actually doing private lessons because I was doing surgery and I missed a couple of the lessons and I felt awkward about going because I was like, oh my God, I've missed out too much. So that's another thing. So set up a steady income. If you already have one, go about the necessary steps to do the online digital nomad visa, but make sure that you have a bit of money behind you, because Ibiza is expensive and there are going to be payments that you need to make that are out the blue that can be thousands. Like it could literally be anything. Like you could have a fine on your car, a rental car, and you listen, you're going to have to pay it because otherwise you're going to get arrested. Or like, let's say you lose your passport like I did and you have to fly home. You've got to have enough money to book tickets last minute to get that sorted. So just have a bit of money behind you. Be safe, be smart. At the end of the day, we're adults now. And although I don't want to act like one, we kind of have to. So that's my best advice to you guys. It's not enjoyable, but we have to do it, you know? Final thoughts. Like I said, okay? It might seem like it's very neggy, this video, and I'm so sorry if it is, but I just wanted to keep it completely realistic with you guys about what to expect. And I think my final take, if I'd recommend it or not, I would. All the ag, all the money, it is all worth it for happiness. Happiness doesn't come easy. And I said this in a podcast the other day when Chloe interviewed me, and she said, Stella, I think a lot of people admire your life. And I said, I know, and I am so blessed, but I have put in a lot of work, and you might not see it and it might just seem like dandy and happy. But you know, if you want to get to where you are, it does take a bit of time. Don't expect this to happen overnight. Like it was planning for like a year that I was going to move. Be kind to yourself, and I would definitely recommend it. And if not Ibiza, like I think the whole of Spain would be fun. Like Barcelona would be, that would be my second place in Spain to live, would be Barcelona. And then if not Barcelona, Marbella, because I've been there before. I would also live in Greece though, 100%. I'd live in Cyprus, I'd live in Greece. I would love to live in Athens for a bit. I think Athens looks like a lot of fun, but Ibiza is tip top for me right now. But in the future, I would definitely look at Dubai. I think there's a lot of benefits to Dubai, especially like thinking of my long-term, like what I want to do, if you want to set up a business. Like Dubai is a really good thing. And also like it's kind of a new place. Like it'll be fun to experience new things and experience their culture. I think I'd like to experience a couple of different cultures and educate myself more. I think that's important when you move somewhere. How it changed my life. How did moving to Ibiza change my life? This is my life now. So I'd say moving here completely changed my life in all the right ways. I'm so much happier. I actually enjoy my job. I think it's easier to make content here. I think in London, if that's kind of your realm, yes, but I think my content was getting stagnant. By no means am I trying to say like, oh, if your content becomes boring, move country. I mean, it would help, but it's just about finding what makes you happy and then just going for it. So I'd love to buy an Ibiza. Honestly, I would. But I think I also got to keep it realistic. I don't think I'm going to be able to unless I'm a billionaire or millionaire. So I would say I want to stay here for the next couple of years, see where it takes me, and then go from there. Because I don't like to plan too far in advance, because you just never know what's going to happen. But I say for now, I'm quite happy here. I will, if this video like entices you and you have loads of questions and there's things that I have missed, I will make a part 2 for you queens. Let me know in the comments what your questions are so I can answer all of them, whether it be about rent, whether it be about housing, visas. Let me know and I can do the research and I can let you know in more depth. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was educational for you all. It is my most commonly asked question, and so I thought, let me do a whole video on it. It isn't a minute TikTok. It is it was a long, lengthy one. So I really wanted to get into depth with you guys, sit down, and go on a beach walk with you.